In this video, I'm going to show you a new meta ads feature that you probably haven't heard of yet, but is an absolute game changer for one of my favorite Facebook ad strategies. It's a feature that's being rolled out right now. You're probably going to get it shortly if you don't have it already. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an ad sequencing feature that allows to put your ads in front of your prospects in order, in a sequence. And if you think about it, this is fantastic for storytelling. It's also fantastic for being able to take your prospects through a customer journey. So for example, you might want to start by putting a value-based ad in front of people to deliver value and start to build that relationship. And then follow that up with a demonstration ad to show how your product or service works. Then after that, a testimonial-based ad, previous customers, clients of yours that have gotten great results or really enjoyed buying your stuff, you could use that. And then follow that up with a more call to action-based ad to get the people that you want to take an action to either become a lead, buy the thing, whatever it is that you want them to do, right? And I can already sort of feel that, through the screen and into the future, because of course I record these videos ahead of time, that those of you that are a bit more experienced with meta ads getting excited by this and the possibilities and thinking, wow, okay, this is a bit of a game changer. Instead of just having to create ads and trusting Meta to put this in front of people sometimes somewhat randomly or choosing the best options, we could actually take people through a customer journey and have a lot of control as advertisers over how that goes. So let me show you what this looks like. I'm in an example meta ad account. I'm in Ads Manager. I'm going to go ahead and create a campaign to show you this. Now, to demonstrate this in this ad account, I'm going to need to switch from the auction buying type to the reservation buying type. Actually, this feature, this ad sequencing feature, has been available as part of the reservation buying type for quite a while. That's not the news here. The news is that it's being brought over to the auction buying type, which is a much bigger deal. But because this feature is being rolled out, I don't yet have it in this example ad account as part of the auction buying type, so I need to use reservation to demonstrate it, and that will do for the purposes of this video. I haven't talked about this previously because I don't really recommend that most businesses use the reservation buying type, so any features that are available just there just don't really matter that much. The reservation buying type in the past I've compared a little bit to HR departments. Like, you only want to have an HR department if you're a really big business. Otherwise, it's a really good way to cause a lot of issues, waste a lot of money. No offense to the HR people out there. It's normally us marketers that are being kicked when it comes to the value we bring to overall businesses, and we need to throw a little bit of shade. HR seems like an obvious option, to be perfectly honest. So anyway, so I don't recommend that any businesses that aren't really big businesses use the reservation buying type, because it can be a good way otherwise to just spend a bunch of money on meta ads and not get much for it. But if I go ahead and select the reservation buy type so I can demonstrate this, and click on awareness, and then go ahead and click continue, then I'll jump to the ad set level. And then if we scroll down here, you can see we've got this ad sequencing section. So it says deliver your ads in a specific order to create a compelling storytelling experience for your audience, which we've already just discussed. This is being brought over to the auction buying type, and that is a really big deal because that is where the vast majority of meta advertisers live and where they should be spending their budget. Now, the best use case that I can think of for this new ad sequencing feature is as part of my omnipresent content strategy. And just a quick shout out to all my OG viewers that already know what the omnipresent content strategy is. You've been watching my stuff for years, haven't actually made a video on it in a while. Omnipresent content is one of my absolute favorite Facebook advertising strategies. It's actually one of the things that allowed me to make a name for myself within the industry, showing a different way of running Facebook and Instagram ads. And it's fantastic for the businesses that struggle with direct selling, let's say. So any expertise-based service providers, whether you're selling coaching, consulting, information, anything like that, or any business really that sells anything over, say, $1,000, can be really difficult to just directly sell that product or service, and you need a different approach. Omnipresent content is fantastic for that. So in a second, I'm going to demonstrate quickly how it works so you understand, and then how this new feature fits in. First, I want to very quickly let you know about my mentorship program. And included in my mentorship program is exclusive educational material, stuff you won't find anywhere else, unlimited one-to-one support. You can ask us any questions that you've got about your meta ads, about your marketing, about your business, about the meaning of life if you want. We'll give it a go. We can certainly help with the meta ads and marketing side of things. We have multiple daily live calls and Q&As with me and my expert team members where you can jump on and we can go through anything. If that sounds interesting, there is a link in the video description. You can click on that, book in a free call with one of my team members to find out more, and hopefully we get a chance to work directly very soon. Okay, so let me quickly show you what an omnipresent content campaign looks like, or at least what it used to look like before we got this new feature, and we can talk about how this new feature fits in so well. So I'm back in my example ad account. I'm going to go ahead and create a campaign, obviously using the auction buying type. No HR departments here. And then we need to select either the awareness or engagement campaign objective. That's what I would typically use for an omnipresent content campaign anyway, but also those are the two campaign objectives for which the ad sequencing feature has been made available under the auction buying type. You're not going to get this yet with sales, leads, maybe one day, but not yet. No big deal, just something you need to be aware of because we wouldn't typically use it anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and select awareness, and let's give this a name so we all know what we're talking about. And then what I'm going to do is jump to the ad set level, and I'm going to go ahead and click duplicate. Now, with an omnipresent content campaign, we would typically create something between 10 and 14 different ad sets. Each ad set is going to have one ad in it. Each one of those ads is going to be different. And the reason why we would set it up that way is because we want to control not just the budget for each individual ad, but also the frequency of impressions for each individual ad. And as I go through this, it'll make a bit more sense. So when you create an omnipresent content campaign, you typically want to create ads in 4 buckets, and those are the same 4 that I mentioned right at the beginning of the video. So value ads, demonstration ads, testimonial ads, and call to action ads. Obviously they do different things and you want them all to be put in front of your prospects to get to the point where they're ready to buy. But if we quickly label this up, so we could have this called value ad set 1. So then your ad sets would look something like this. We've got 4 value ad sets. Remember, each ad set containing 1 ad. In this case, is all value ads, but they would be different ads. So 4 different value ads. Then we've got 3 different demonstration ad sets, 4 different testimonial ad sets, 3 different call to action ad sets, all with the same approach. And then if we go ahead and edit this ad set at the top, one of the other really important things about an omnipresent content campaign is being able to control the impression frequency at the ad set level. So what we do is we'd scroll down and we'd select a cap. If we've got 14 ad sets, then we'd select 1 impression every 7 days. And what that would mean is that this individual ad, value ad 1 in value ad set 1, would be put in front of people once a week. And that then would apply to all the other ads. And that's why we've created 14 different ad sets with 14 different ads, so that over a week, a prospect on average is going to see 2 ads per day, and they'll all be different over a 7-day sequence, and then it would repeat. Hopefully that makes sense, right? If each individual ad is once every 7 days and there are 14, then it's 2 different ones per day for a week. And what that allows you to do is really build impression frequency. So it allows you to put lots of ads in front of people over time. An omnipresent content campaign is a type of campaign that works over time. That's typically why we recommend it for businesses where you've got a lot of convincing to do. Expertise-based service providers, it's like you have to be convinced, or you have to convince your prospects that they should buy from you as opposed to someone else, and that your expertise is superior in some way. That takes time. You have to build that relationship. It's not like just buying a relatively inexpensive e-commerce product. Or if you're selling something quite expensive, product or service, okay, again, it takes time to build the trust required for someone to go, yeah, I am willing to spend $10,000 or $50,000 on that thing. That's not an easy thing to convince someone to do, right? So this is what this allows you to do, and having 14 different ads means that you don't fatigue people really quickly. If you just had the same ad being put in front of people 14 times a week, they would immediately get bored of it and immediately switch off to it, and it would lose its effectiveness. So that's what we would look to do with the omnipresent content structure. Now, one of the things, if I go back to the ad set level, that people have asked, I've been talking about this strategy for a few years now. I really like it for businesses that it works for, like I've described. And one of the things that people have often asked me is, well, how do I create a sequence? Because obviously I want people to see my value ads first, then my demonstration ads, then my testimonial ads, and then my call to action ads as I've labeled them up in these ad sets here. And I never had a great answer for them. I'd say, well, you just kind of have to trust that Meta's going to kind of work that out, or they're going to put everything in front of people and over time it won't really matter. Or what you could do is you could set the value ad sets live the first day or first few days, and then wait a few days to set the other ones live, and then wait a few more to set the other ones live. And that was okay, but as soon as you're past those first week, 5-6 days, when you've done that, it's still just everything being shown to people all over the place. There'll be new people joining your target audience and leaving, because that's the nature of all target audiences. And that was as good as you could do. Well, with this ad sequencing feature, that is very exciting. That is going to make this process so much more powerful and more effective. And we're gonna have a little play with it. What I imagine we'll end up doing is consolidating the ad set structure. So instead of having all the 14 different ad sets, if we can use ad sequencing, we can probably combine a lot of those ads into either one, or we might just have fewer ad sets. So we might have, broken down by the different types. We'll have a little play with that, and I'll come out with a proper recommendation. Like I said, I'm gonna do a whole new video on my omnipresent content strategy. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe for that to demonstrate exactly how this works. But definitely a big deal for one of my favorite Facebook ad strategies, and one that I think is really undervalued. And I think it's because, let's be honest, this requires patience and effort. You've got to make a lot of ads, and then you've got to wait to see if it works, over a 6 month plus period. That actually requires faith as opposed to data. You just have to trust that it's going to work over time at the beginning. And most sort of nerdy marketer types really struggle with that. But I've seen it happen many times, and this can work really well. There are a few other things I need to mention around this ad sequencing feature, so criteria that you need to meet in order to use this. So if you're checking your ad account thinking, oh, I don't have this, it might just be you don't have the right settings, because they'll only pop up once you click the right settings. So firstly, you need to be using the awareness or engagement objective. Already mentioned that. We use that with an OC campaign anyway, so no big deal. You need to be using ad set budgets as opposed to campaign budgets. We do that anyway with the structure. You need to have frequency controls in place, like I showed you the frequency capping of 1 impression every 7 days. In that instance, again, we do that anyway, but that's something you need to do. The significant change that we would also need to make with our previous omnipresent content campaign structure to this one is, in order to use ad sequencing, you need to be using lifetime budgets. I'm not normally a fan of lifetime budgets. I prefer the flexibility, scalability that daily budgets provides. But I think in order to take advantage of the ad sequencing feature, this may well be worth it. And it kind of makes sense that you'd have a fixed length campaign to allow Meta to do the ad sequencing with lots of people over a time period. Typically with an omnipresent content campaign, you need to refresh the ads every sort of 3 to 6 months. Yes, it's on a 7-day cycle, but people will still get bored if they've seen the same set of ads every week for an extended period. So you might just want to create your campaigns with lifetime budgets to sort of match up with an ad refresh cycle. And therefore this will function quite similarly to the previous omnipresent content strategy setup. But yeah, that's the one big change that we need to make from our defaults in order to use ad sequencing with OC going forward. I'll get back to the video in a second, but first I want to let you know about Particle. Particle is a fantastic tool that takes meta ads targeting from good to exceptional by providing the in-depth market intelligence and competitive insights necessary to truly understand and reach the right audience in 2025 and beyond. With Particle, you can track competitor sales, pricing strategies, and product launches down to the SKU level, which means you can identify which strategies are working well for your competitors, understand their target audience's purchasing behavior, and uncover untapped market opportunities for your ads. Particle can also help you find new audiences or market segments by revealing top-selling trends or product opportunities. Combine that with Particle's granular SKU level data, and you'll be able to make more informed decisions about targeting, creative, and overall campaign strategy. Right now, you can get started with Particle for free, no credit card required. Just click the link in the video description below. So this is the most obvious use case that I can think of and that we're going to jump on for this ad sequencing feature being added to the auction buying type is my omnipresent content strategy. But there are other use cases too, right? Think about how cool this would be to use this to sell an event. You could have a sequence like counting down to the event, or demonstrating the speakers that you've got at the event, or the singers. I don't really go to live music stuff. Actually don't really like loud noises, which my wife says makes me very sad, and probably true, but I don't know the correct term. Singers, artists, whatever, trying to sell a gig. You know what I mean? You could drip feed in the different people that are going to be there to try and attract people and sell tickets, right? You could use it with sales that have deadlines. You could use it to ladder up discounts. So you could start by, let's say it's a retargeting based campaign, you offer 10% off, and the next ad they see is for 15%, and the next ad they see is for 20%, next ad they see is for 25%. It's a strategy that's not used much, but used to be something people talked about quite a lot back in the day. And the idea was that the keenest beans, they would go ahead and buy early as soon as they see a discount. So you make more money on them because you've offered less of a discount. They've gone and grabbed the 10%, they never see the other ads. But then the people that need more convincing get it because they get shown the subsequent ads. You can do all of that sort of thing with the ad sequencing. So all very exciting. So we'll be testing this in a bunch of different ways like the ones I just mentioned. Make sure you subscribe and I'll let you know in future videos the results of those tests and how we recommend this is used and how we recommend this isn't used. And if you want to dive deeper on the omnipresent content strategy, then go ahead and check out this video. It is absolutely one of my favorite strategies, but honestly only click on this, only go ahead and watch it and give this a go if you don't have full TikTok brain. It requires time and effort to set up and patience for it to work. If you can get over those two hurdles, it can be an absolute game changer for your business. But yeah, I should state that up front because not everyone does.